Honored to be the first person to speak in this seminar, and my topic is this: how do we prepare our students for what we call a VUCA world, a volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world. So I want to frame my talk with three questions, and the first question I'd like to kind of answer together with everybody is: what is VUCA? What's the meaning of volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous? Second question is the world becoming more VUCA today than, say, 5 years ago, 10 years ago? And the third question is, then how are we going to prepare our students for it? Okay. Like what Keith Tong mentioned in his opening speech, welcome speech, that he introduced a lot of volatility in my life also, because he just called me and said, "Hey, can you do a talk?" I said, "When?" He said, "In 3 weeks' time." I said, "What? 3 weeks' time?" I said, "What's the topic?" He said, "You choose the topic. It's got something to do with hot and steam." And that kind of created a little bit of volatility in my life. In other words, changes that kind of was unpredictable. And I'm kind of now expecting that, having known Keith longer and now working closer with him, there will be a lot more volatility in my life. Uncertainty means that you're not sure what these changes will be, right? There's uncertainty. So for example, when my wife asked me, which of these two dresses should I wear? That creates a lot of uncertainty in my life, because I do not know whether she likes my decision. And actually, I kind of have to read her mind. She has already chosen one. She wants me to kind of affirm, right? Yeah, okay, the ladies are all kind of nodding like that. Okay, so the guys here, yeah, it took me 30 years to learn that. So uncertainty in my life. Complexity, I guess we kind of know the world is getting more complex. I'm going to tell you the factors that are affecting complexity. But in my life, the biggest complexity is when my wife asked me, "Am I fat?" I said, that is a very complex question, which will take me another 30 years to figure out what is the right answer. So ambiguity is really something that we are now beginning to encounter, and governments are facing ambiguity in the most unlikely ways. Very recently, I come from Singapore, so very recently in Singapore, the parliament had to debate a very simple problem. And what is that problem? How do we regulate Netflix? How do we regulate Netflix? Because Netflix doesn't fall into the Broadcasting Act. It doesn't fall into the Content Act. And so when the Ministry of Information and Communication and Arts was thinking, how do we regulate Netflix? They don't really know how. How do they regulate Uber? Is it a transport company? Is it a technology company? What is it? So, ambiguity. We're not sure what we are dealing with, and ambiguity is going to increase. So let's look at the major factors shaping our future. The first one that is very real to us, whether in Singapore, Malaysia, anywhere in Asia, is this whole thing about social, cultural, political changes with artificial intelligences that's now creating a lot of complexity and uncertainty in our life. Autonomous vehicles, which is very, very soon going to be on our roads. I had this bet with my friends that in 10 years' time, in other words, by the year 2029, we will have a total, freedom of autonomous vehicles on our public roads in 10 years' time. I know that Uber has predicted 5 years, but maybe that's more of a commercial kind of angle. They're trying to tell people that, hey, invest in our company because it's going to change the way our company grows. But my belief is that really it takes governments and society many, many years to sort this out before we can allow autonomous vehicles on our roads. And then how about the whole concept of nanotechnologies in medicine? My daughter is a doctor, and she has been wondering with us as a family what to specialize in. And I have some bad news in the back of my head, which I don't want to share with her, and I'm going to share with you later on. She may find out from the video of this conference about being a doctor in the future. Robotics is another issue that's kind of going to affect our lives a lot. And so we'll be 3D printing climate change, blockchain, affecting businesses right now in a very big way. And the last slide, right in the center that came on, is a real thing that's already happening. It's actually flying taxis available in Dubai. I was recently in Dubai, and apparently you can have an app to call up a taxi, but it's not cheap, so I didn't try one. But you can. And in Singapore, we are already piloting flying taxis. I'm quite sure very soon, if not even earlier, in Malaysia it might happen because you all have a longer distance to travel. In Singapore, you get in and then 30 seconds later you get off. You got to go around the long way. It's a very small country. So these are the factors affecting our future. And as Ida mentioned, the MC mentioned, that I was speaking to some students yesterday. They are young people, from between 11 to about 16 years old. I'm going to share with you some of the ideas that they were sharing with me about this future that, frankly, it is their future, because they are going to live through most of these changes. Then what about the jobs? How would it affect the jobs? Because all those factors that we talk about is going to affect jobs. Because one of the key purpose, not the only purpose, one of the key purpose of education is to prepare students for society. And one major factor of society, especially from a governmental point of view, is to get them to be productive, so-called good citizens, people who can contribute to society. That's why we educate people, one of the main reasons. So, are we preparing them for these jobs? So one of the jobs that you see up there on the top left-hand corner, doctors, surgeons. The other one would be an accountant or office workers, teachers, followed by cashiers, plumbers, drivers of all sorts, or machine operators, including. And then on the bottom left-hand corner is artists, right? And then lawyers, and the bottom right-hand corner you see programmers. So where do I get this range of jobs from? This is actually spoken of by futurists. Futurists, people who look into the future, 5, 10, 20, 30 years. There are such people. They actually make a living. In the past, they used to make a living writing books, like Irving Toffler, John Less did. But today, they're hired by Google, Apple, Netflix, Facebook, because these companies are really creating the future for us. They're creating the services that we never thought we knew or we needed. And so, one of these conferences, the futurists got together, and the futurists from Google kind of say, hey, guess what jobs are going to remain in the future? And we're talking about maybe 10, 20, 30 years from now. And so the audience, like all of us here, say, oh, let's wonder. So what do you think are the jobs that would kind of remain in the future? If you think it's surgeons and doctors, the answer is no, it will go. And this is spoken to this group by a Google futurist. He said, no, actually today you can see a AI robot doctor. It's available in some parts of the world. Fortunately not in Singapore and Malaysia yet. But in other parts of the world, there are such services. What about teachers? And many of us in this room are kind of related to the field, including me. And I said, no, I'm not going to have a job in the future. Teachers can be replaced by AI and by robotics. And the other one is lawyers. Maybe we're kind of happy. Lawyers not to be around in the future. But yeah, even law can be taken over. And cashiers. And today it's already happening. Right now, right, you have what we call it, self-checkout. Yeah, and more of that. When I came here, flew from Singapore to KL, I had to go to a machine to check in. There's really nobody there. I had to carry my bag, and then I saw this scanner that would scan the bag tag. And then in about, it took me about 10-15 minutes because I'm not very good with the machines. And then after that I realized, hey, actually I can apply for a job as a check-in counter staff. Now I know how to do it, how to weigh the bag, how to tag the bag, how to scan it, and say, hey, I got another backup job in case I lose mine. And so what about people like those in the center. Did you see that? The accountants, office workers, they're not going to be needed. And then, so will be the programmers. And so this is where most people are very excited, they said, and kind of perplexed. They said, how can it be that in the future where there is AI and robotics, wouldn't you need programmers? And guess what? There are a lot of software now that programs itself. In other words, a software to rewrite codes in another software. And this gives us the idea, or that kind of conjures up the image of Terminator 4, Skylab. And so some of the students say, hey, are we going to be in Terminator 4? I say, no, maybe by the time it will be Terminator 10. But that's not the point. The thing is that, machines are writing themselves now in terms of coding. It's really happening now, today. Again, probably it's not happening on your machine. It's happening in a machine somewhere in some kind of super lab somewhere. And artists will also disappear. As in, we don't need artists to create artwork. Robots can do that. And so would the drivers, of course. All these little plumbing systems to fix the problem. And they say because almost every home has a slightly different plumbing system. I say, oh yeah, that's quite true. But however, I think it will go sometime in the future. It takes a little longer.